Both providers are great, but only one of them is officially promoted by WordPress themselves, and there's a really good reason why. If you look at most of the best hosting lists, two providers always come up in a sort of a tie. It is Bluehost versus Hostinger. There's a really solid chance for any project, but we're here to answer the question, which is one of the best web hosting providers? Is it Bluehost or is it Hostinger? Since we all like cheap web hosting, let's compare Hostinger versus Bluehost 2022 and see which is more affordable. For as long as we remember, Hostinger had the cheaper plans and Bluehost had more resources. Well, pricing for hosting tends to change rather frequently, and now both providers are very evenly matched. You can get Hostinger WordPress hosting for under $2 a month. Bluehost's cheapest options start from around $3 a month. Hostinger's plans vary between a month and 4 years in duration, while Bluehost only has yearly and free year plans. Do keep in mind though, that Hostinger will require you to pay for those 4 years upfront if you want to get the biggest discount. The main difference in pricing will be renewal. Your cheapest Bluehost plan will give you one site, 50 GB of storage, and unlimited bandwidth for $10 a month after renewal, of course. But for 100 websites, unlimited bandwidth, and 100 GB of storage, Hostinger will ask you just for $7 after the initial period. So just purely price-wise, Hostinger will be just a bit cheaper. Both providers use SSD disks to ensure maximum efficiency, but Bluehost has this unlimited tag. While Hostinger is limited to a max of 200 GB, the unlimited is a marketing ploy. And what's important is to consider the inode limit. With that in mind, in the long run, the capabilities are still the same. If I had to summarize everything, Bluehost is a cheaper provider. If you want a shorter period of hosting, it will be a better choice. But for longer projects, Hostinger will have a better discount, if you can pay upfront for the 4 years, of course. Hey, and by the way, if you are considering either of these providers, by the end of the video, you'll find the best deals down below where you can currently get up to 78% off depending on the provider. We always update those links with the best deals, so be sure to check them out. We aren't sponsored, so these affiliate links help us to keep that content going. Next, on our Hostinger versus Bluehost fight, it's usability. Since shared hosting is best for small projects and, well, beginners, how easy are these providers to control? Well, both have very straightforward control dashboards, but after testing, we discovered some interesting cons that you should know about. For example, in an earlier Hostinger review, I mentioned that I really like its dashboard approach. It's easy to navigate and has clear big icons. If you want to install a new Hostinger WordPress setup, you can use the auto installer, and just with a few steps, it's done. The overall structure kind of reminds me of cPanel, where all features, both simple and complex options, are in the same dashboard. The problem is that sometimes the dashboard is a little bit slow or can load forever. This doesn't happen often, but it's still something that you should know about. The Bluehost control panel is a bit more app-like, having the most used options easily accessible for beginners. If we wanted to do the same WordPress install, it's even easier than Hostinger. Just start creating a new site and fill in your data. However, if you want to do a bit more, say, complex tasks, you get to use, and in fact you need to use, the good old-fashioned cPanel, which is a bit of a double-edged sword in our opinion. Not to trash Bluehost too much though, both providers are great for WordPress, but only one of them is officially promoted by WordPress creators themselves. And there's a good reason why Bluehost has this title. You get this really useful dashboard with every WordPress install. It allows you to do some optimizations, straighten your security, change important options, or even create staging sites to work on without disturbing your live website. During our time, we found it so useful that it felt like a missing option compared to some of the other hosting providers. Hostinger also has a staging tool. You can find it here in the main control panel. But staging only comes with the most expensive shared plan, so it's a bit of a luxury item. Now, what if you're planning to use a website builder? Bluehost WordPress comes with an available free website builder, while Hostinger offers a premium builder called Zyro. Zyro is a really neat tool and all, but it doesn't come packaged into every plan. The Bluehost website builder is a simple tool, but it's still free. Sure, you can just install a WordPress plugin to remedy this, and both providers are greatly optimized for the WordPress platform, but I would kinda stick to Bluehost if you're looking for the best WordPress hosting plan for cheap. And hey, if you're enjoying this video, let me know by pressing the like button down below. I regularly cover different ways of how to build a website no matter what, whether it is for business or for pleasure, and bring you the latest hosting news so you don't want to miss it out. When it comes to hosting, nothing's more important than loading time. You want your users to be able to use your site lightning fast. We learned that both providers are more or less evenly matched in this area. However, some of them do have their strong suits, so maybe this will finally help us settle the time. First, Google's recommended good loading time is around 2.5 seconds. This is what we're aiming for. However, the average loading time of the internet is currently around 8 seconds. Let's hope that these two won't reach those heights. We have a significant difference, though I want to say that both providers managed to squeeze into that Google standard. However, while testing the same website setup for Hostinger, it managed to get an A score and load the site in 1.2 seconds. Bluehost, on the other hand, got a B score and loaded it in 2.1 seconds. Hostinger, in that regard, is nearly twice as fast, although their LCP and time for the server to respond are just very similar. That's all fine and well, but there's a lot more to unpack. Take Hostinger's Lightcache plugin as an example. A godsend in times of crisis. When making my Bluehost review, I also noticed it has a compensation for similar circumstances, though it can't really compete. With Hostinger's plugin, I managed to take my personal blog and improve it by around 50-60% speed-wise. And all I did was flip some switches in the plugin settings and send my images to be optimized with the Lightspeed free optimizer. So, after all those pros and cons that we talked about, what provider would win in today's battle? Honestly, these providers are so similar that both will give your website the premium treatment it needs. The differences are minuscule. Hostinger is slightly cheaper in the long run, while Bluehost is a bit easier to use for complete beginners. And I think that if you watch this video till the very end, you already know which provider meets your needs for a website. That's it here for the video, folks. I hope I made my opinions about both providers clear and loud and helped you choose the one shared hosting plan that you need. You should know at least a bit on how to use Hostinger or Bluehost. If you want more of these versus videos, leave the providers down below that you want me to put in the ring together. Anyway, thanks for watching. Click like or subscribe to support the channel, and of course, I'll see you all later.